we're learning today very important halachas. That's all I have to say. Why I say it's very important halachas because it's very negah. That's all. It's how to get an aliyah. Because we're all being bar mitzvah boys today, so to speak. No, I'm not joking. I'm serious. The Mishnah Berurah doesn't speak about it, but this is the headquarters of Halacha Shiur. Kuflam Mites.
Soon we're going to have a big Knesset also.
Mitzvah Hashem. Okay. Kuflam Mites, Sif Dalet. Okay. Whoever gets an aliyah, kol hakarin, mevarchim lefaneh v'la'achareha. When you get an aliyah, you get a bracha beforehand and afterwards. Those who were with us on Shavuos night, I gave a shiur on the subject of the question about the Mefeset Minyanim getting an aliyah if you're not at the minyan. That was basically what this shiur was about. And in that shiur, I asked a question, which is a little bit frustrating kind of a question. I asked the question, who are you being yetzer with the brachas? Who are the brachas for? What are the brachas that we're saying? What? I didn't hear you.
Good question.
Good question. Okay, very good. It's not always a good question. It's actually not like this. It's such a good question that the answer is not so simple. But we're not going to get so involved in that at this point. I just want to mention something which happens many times, not here in Avos Shalom, but there are other places that this happens. You get a guy, there are many Bali Torah that they have more than one position. They learn in more than one shul on Shabbos morning. And sometimes there is a little ikul. So there's a guy who knows how to get the sheni. There's a guy who, and maybe the diavit could get the shlishi. Okay? I'm sure we've all been in this situation. And the guy has no choice because everybody's in a big rush to get things going. So the guy gets up there, and the guy made the brachas, and before you even start to lay, all of a sudden, in comes the Balkaira. The Balkaira hear brachas? No. Can he lay? Yeah. How do you know? Because you've seen it done. All right. So that's the bottom line. That's true, but it will be true even if he didn't hear laning beforehand. Okay? And this has to do with the question of who the brachas are really for. So we're just going to start off with that thing. You have to make a bracha beforehand. Now, you have to make a bracha beforehand and bracha afterwards. Now, the question over here is that we all made brachas on brachas of Torah in the morning. Why do you have to make a bracha again? You already did this. So this is not such a simple question, but we're just going to read the Mishnah Berurah on the subject. We're going to do it. You just have to have that the Kriyas HaTorah is sandwiched with a bracha beforehand and afterwards, and that the Levi and the Yisrael, they don't really need to have their brachas. But I'm saying that to be Chasen. After we can't take the Rabban Mishum Klasim the Yitzin the Emtakriya because of the people coming in and out in the middle of raining. So Yishvu brachas Hapasech Rachasim V'Yomru Shekarim Batar B'Li Bracha. And again, I said this over the last time we learned this. I always find this unbelievably amazing that the people who weren't there for the whole thing, they're the ones that dance others. They know why things are really going on. Yeah, but not only that. We're worried about them because these guys are the ones that tell you what really happened. You know what I mean? The guy wasn't there for the whole thing, but he knows. That's like part of his, he knows. I don't know how he knows. But they're the ones in trouble. As you would say, the guys who come late, they're the ones who make trouble. Right? that's what we'd have to say. All right. Hine, la'achroina, shibirchas asher nosan, the bracha which you make after the kriya, lekuli alma derabbanan. That's only a bracha, that's a derabbanan. V'lefoneha, the bracha asher bachar bano, yesh de'es ben apoiskim, ihud din Torah or derabbanan. The machloikes if that bracha is a daraisa or not. The hanimin kishlo bircha daim birchas hatayra. You didn't make birchas hatayra in the morning. So if you made birchas hatayra in the morning, then everybody holds that it's only a rabbanon shetiknu mishum kovet hatzibur k'ashkosu l'simchet. Its purpose is kovet hatzibur as we'll see, we'll learn later on. Then tov birchas hatayra uposeach. Now I'm going to tell you, it's I'm going to call it an embarrassing situation. We had this question happen here in Shul about 4 months ago. This exact shayla. And I couldn't remember the halacha. I remember it was a machlokes. I couldn't remember which way it went. By Mincha Shabbos, the person got the aliyah, and we'll see what happened. And I couldn't remember the halacha, and I couldn't find the halacha. It was like a very, very embarrassing kind of situation. Everybody's waiting for you, and you just like stuck there doing nothing. You said the wrong bracha. You said the after bracha in the beginning. You remember before you said the second Shem, then Yasu you start over to the right thing. Omar, Hashem. You end off with the last bracha first. You switch them around. So that's what you do. Roy Kasafam. You did the second one also Asher Bracha Banu, and I did twice the same bracha. In this case, Hashem, then again, let's say that Yasu, the bracha. But when it's that Hashem, let's say that Yasu Oida Pam Mikulas Bracha. You start over again. In Mitzvah Achar Bracha Hashem, Karim Shenai Senatera, Yom Miyad. Okay, look at the Sharatzia. Now here's the Sharatzia, and this was the question which I couldn't remember the answer to. Okay, the Etzem Adin Shel HaMogen Avrom, Kosov Yivok Shamar, in Ichrit Omar Shenasan Koidem, if you said the order backwards, you said the last bracha first, you're Yaitze. Doesn't make a difference. The two brachas, you can make whichever one you want. Whichever, I mean, not that you could, that you should, but it works. It works even if you did it in the reverse order. Okay. The lav nusbapiti. This idea is not necessarily so. Think us about your Rabbi listening Marshal. The yesh say the brachas edu. There's a dafka in order, and you have to have them in the right order. You did it in the wrong order, you're not yetzer. So, what do you do? So we have over here machlokes haposkim. So a person made Ashenosam known first. So what do you do now? We do halacha l'maisa. So the Mishnah said you could doesn't make a difference order. Now he says that there's some people say that does make a difference order. This part of Torah I remember. I remember what the bottom line is. Okay. The bracha achre shahabi achol metika divrei b'shor halacha alehem among yom kol derechayim v'chazir shulchan le'atzishitim. So we have over here a big machlokes and kosher. It's kosher to say to make over a new bracha. So basically, if I had it translate into English, what he says seven brachas lahakah. What?
Why didn't you just say that? Waiting for some else.
So what does that mean? Don't say any bracha?
Yeah, because he feels that the halacha should be that you should make it over.
But what happened in Shul was none of these cases.
No?
No. He said Ashabach Habanu at the beginning and said Ashabach Habanu again at the end. So this wasn't any of these cases.
No, it's the same thing. Because if you can't...
No, it's not reversing the order.
No, I understand, but the same idea that the bracha before bracha and the bracha after bracha have to be in those places in particular. But
we never got it. I'm saying but he never made an after bracha. That's what I'm saying.
He never made it.
According to that.
He made a bracha, but he said Asher Bachabanu twice. The first bracha he did in
Well,
the
does that
beginning
work?
properly,
Does that
and
work?
then again he
Does
said
that
Asher
work?
Bachabanu. So we never
Right.
had Asher Nasananu.
So that's the question. If you say Asher Bracha Banu afterwards, can it count or not? So here it says over here it's a machlokes.
Yeah, but this is when he reversed them, no?
Doesn't make a difference. It says each one has its place. Read the bracha, read what it says Mishar Tziyim. Each one has its place, and therefore they're not transferable. It's not because you already said it. It's because it.
But we have two reises. One reis says that's not in order. One reis says we're missing one of the brachas. Over here he talked about reversing the brachas.
Who says it's a problem missing the brachas? What's the difference which bracha you make? If both are good, it wouldn't make a difference.
Wrong, but the shots, I thought he's only talking about being hefty. Only when he swaps, it says the first one, does he have to correct it? I thought if he says the Shabbat in the beginning,
Yeah.
at the end, he has to fix it.
He for sure has to fix it.
I thought he's only referring to when he swapped the first
Well,
one.
how do you know that's the halacha? That you for sure have to fix it. I understood Mishar Tziyim. I understood Mishar Tziyim that each one has its place, and that's the problem. That's the problem is each one has its place. Anyways, that was the story that happened. So try to make sure it doesn't happen
Usually
again.
people correct them pretty quickly.
What?
Usually if something makes a mistake, he gets corrected.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
If you wouldn't know what to do, you would do nothing because it's not marking. So the only thing you remember is because it's not marking,
Cool.
then
why is Baruch stop rocking?
it's not marking the prayer.
Oh, that's a whole another question. I'll just tell you, I think I spoke about this one time. I'm just going to say it over again now.
We didn't hear the question.
It does make a difference. You'll hear in the answer. In this shul, Baruch Hashem, I was not the first rabbi of this shul, so I didn't have to lay down the law. The law was already here. And whatever was being done, most of the things that was being done, there's definitely what to rely on. And my shita many times is you don't change something unless you have to. You just leave it as it is. One of the things that I'm happy I didn't have to make a decision about is that they have a kriya for ladies for Parsha Zachar, which is far from clear that you're allowed to do that altogether. To take out a sefer Torah and read a parabim without having anybody make any bracha on it. And there's such a minute, and it's done. And so I let it be done. I have no problem. It doesn't, there's what to rely on. But I didn't have to institute it. So that's great for me if I don't have to institute it. But you can't have a kriya without brachas. That kriya that itself is also. Now it happened to be that in the case that it happened to be that it was the kohen that was the oiler. Well, in the case that it happened over here. So his first bracha was for sure good, and the last guy's bracha was also good. So your case would be taken care of theoretically, possibly, but the minhag is that you have to have the brachas. But the same thing would have happened with the Yisro on the Monday, Thursday, whatever, then we would have no bracha at the end, and we'd be in trouble. Yeah. All right. So I just want to also mention some other things over here. The minhag is that an oiler wears a talis. That's brought down in the poskim. Why does he have to wear a talis is not so clear. But there's a bir halacha in Hilchos Tzitzis which says something which is fascinating, and it's important to be aware of. If I get an aliyah, it's in America, people leave their talis in shul.
No, I don't know why they do.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's reasonable. I'm not sure. The truth of the matter is, I don't understand why people take the talis in home. I don't get the whole thing. In America, they leave their talis in shul for the weekdays too. right?
Everyone down was in one shul over here. Everyone down was in five.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. But I'm just saying,
Individual.
what?
It depends on the individual, not the shul.
Yeah, okay, but whatever. But a lot of times it happens that you're in a shul in America and your tallis is right next to your seat, and you get an minyan for Shabbos Mincha, and you would like the thing the person would normally do is to grab his tallis and go up. But I think that shouldn't be done. You shouldn't do that. Why? Because if you put on your tallis, then could be you have to make a bracha on your tallis. What you should do is that you should take the tallis that belongs to the tzibur. And the Bir Halacha says that the tallis that belongs to the tzibur, and this is like a really, I love these kind of halachas because it works both ways. The tallis that belongs to the tzibur, you could make a bracha on it.
You don't have to. It also belongs to you.
Because also, and it's tonight that you're allowed to do that, right? You can do it. It's fine. If a guy comes to shul without a tallis, you can give him the shul tallis, and you can make a bracha on it, and that's fine. But being that it's not yours, ba'etzem, so the Bir Halacha says that you can wear it, mishum kavod hatzibur, without a bracha. So it's optional. The bracha becomes optional. So when you're in a rush to get up there, so take the tzibur's tallis is a better option than taking your own, because your own you have to make a bracha on it. Okay, but yeah, and also according to some places you're supposed to wear a hat when you get your out of here. That's an important nekuda. And then there's also a subject of kissing the sefer Torah, kissing the, touching where you're going to lay. All these things have makoros for them. So you have those minhagim, then you should know that that's actually brought down the place that those are.
You know where the problem comes up? And I had this.
What the problem is?
In regard to putting on a tallis without saying a bracha or with saying a bracha is slichus night. Slichus night. Do you make a bracha? Do you make a bracha on a tallis at night?
No, never.
Okay, so what I used to do, because I daven slichus for many years, I
do it every year.
I know, but about as about tefillah. So I used to borrow somebody's tallis purposely so I wouldn't have to make a bracha.
All right, okay. Well, that's for in the Rishonim department. That's fine. But halacha l'maisa, we don't make a bracha on tzitzis at night ever. We don't do that. But there's a machlekes Rishonim. According to some Rishonim, one would have to make a bracha. We don't pass it like that. But if you can wear somebody else's, that's better. All right. So now you do hey. Nagu lechasos haksav.
Just clarify, the whole issue was
Yeah, but not only you don't have to make the brachas. You have to check. You have to check your tzitzis. It's a machlekes. That's a different machlekes. If I wore my tzitzis, a very important machlekes. If I wore my tallis today in the morning for mincha, and I want to wear it, in the morning for mincha, I'm not very good. So I wore it this morning for shachris, and now by Shabbos mincha I get an aliyah. Am I mechuyev to check the tzitzis? Machlekes. It's a machlekes. The reason why does somebody have to check their tzitzis before they put on their tzitzis? Are you neurotic? Why are you chayshish?
It's a chazaka, really. You don't have to.
What?
I would say you don't have to, because it wouldn't be a chazaka. The fact that you put it in the morning, then there's no reason why.
So what about tomorrow morning? Do you have to check it tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Officially not, but something could happen over it.
Okay, so I'll tell you. The Shulchan Aruch Harav, the parents came here, so I could say Shulchan Aruch Harav. The Shulchan Aruch Harav, he explains that being that even though it's true it has a chazaka, you shouldn't have to check it, but we know that eventually it's going to get ruined, right? So this is like a bad, I call it a bad chazaka, because we can't really rely on it without some kind of a marker. So therefore, and this is a machlokes on this issue, exactly how you say this. This is the nafkamina. Therefore, Chazal will masakin that once a day you have to check it.
Oh.
If that's the way that you, those according to those achronim, if you get an aliyah by mincha, so then you don't have to check it. Why? Because I checked it today. What? Others say just because the fact that you're going to make a bracha is a chashash and a bracha levatala, so they're machal you to check it. So then even if you wore it twice in one day, the fact that you'd have to make a bracha on it, that's enough of a reason to be machal of the dika. So not only, getting back to your question, I think that's if you go according to Magen Avrahom's reasons, because Kaliva is because the chazak is a shvach chazak. I didn't say you asked is the reason why you check out the Talmud. So you invented an answer and then you asked a question on your answer. That's not fair, right? Right? But that's the machlokes on that issue. So if you're gonna have to check your tzitzis, then by the way, there's a machlokes the Taz and the Magen Avrahom. If you have to check just the springs, you have to check the loop on the top, whatever. All right. So and there's such an aspect of kissing the sefer Torah, where you make me look. All these are chibur mitzvahs kind of things. Nagit, hey, nagu the chasais haksav besuder bengavel agav. Now, we live in a world of no sensitivity. Okay, it's rude that you leave the sefer Torah open. Not only that, I've seen by Noshim Gedolim, oh, this is really it's halacha and Shulchan Aruch and Yeredes and Reish Ayin Zayin or something like that. It's about that with a sefer Torah, but a person who leaves his Gemara should actually close it. Whatever. There's a Adam Gadol, I can't remember right now, the pasuk that the Rogachover was visited by Adam Gadol Ma'oi, and the Rogachover was a exuberant person. And if he needed a sefer, he had a crowded library, and he would know every sefer was, and he would go climb up on the ladders and get it. When he was already an old fellow, he would hold the sefer that he's learning with his finger on the place, with one hand, and climb the ladder with one hand and take it down. And this bocher who came from Eretz Yisrael, the Pinnis, who came from Eretz Yisrael to actually went to Sabotka, but he stopped off in Drinsk. He asked him why, and he quoted a pasuk. The pasuk's not coming to me right now. And he said that if you leave go for 1 second, you may forget it. Then the Rogachover was having this problem. You know what I mean? It wasn't me that was having this problem. It was the Rogachover having this problem. So, okay, it leaves what to be desired for some people like me. Anyways, but to leave the sefer open is a lack of respect. Because when the sefer Torah is open, you're supposed to be paying attention to the sefer Torah. You're not paying attention to the sefer Torah, that's a problem. Okay? Now, I'd just like to say something. When I was learning this halacha in preparation for the shiur, a thought crossed my mind, and I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong. Definitely, when I learned these halachas the first time, I would have never had the question that I have now, because when I learned the bold letters of the Mechaber, I think about a Sephardi sefer Torah, and when I learned Rashi letters, I think of Ashkenazi sefer Torah. So the Sephardim, their sefer Torah, it's not so simple to close it and to open it. It's a bulky thing. You know, it's what?
So they actually have a suda.
That's what they have. I know that. But I'm explaining could very well be that there's no machlokes. The practical, you know, they don't have the option. They don't have the option to close it. You know, it's probably nowadays they have some kind of a table on wheels that opens and closes and does whatever you want for you. They probably have something like that. So I don't know. This is just I don't know if there's any halacha behind this machlokes, It was just a question of the cumbersomeness of what's there. But I will say that I'm not so happy when I look at these Sephardi sefer Torah. The Suda that they use covers maybe a third. Right? It's not what?
The Ammonites are more practical. They have it on a slant, so then it doesn't. It's
What
not
does the Sefer sefer Torah look like? Look like a Sephardi one, right?
like a Sephardi one, but it's up. They put it on the table on a slant, not upwards, right up, upright. Like it's not standing like the.
Okay, and what do they do? What do they do?
And then they have one on above and one from the bottom. When the guy reads, he keeps.
What do they have from above and below?
They have a kerchief.
Yeah.
Kerchief before and after the pasuk, and it keeps on moving it up and down.
While they're landing?
Yeah, while he's landing.
Why is that? Why do they do that?
Because they have a Metogaman.
That's it.
No, here it's talking about Ben Gavra Gavra.
Ah, okay. During the reading.
They do? Okay. Fair enough. All right. Anyways, that's just a personal thought that I had. I'm not sure if there's any machoikas over here. It's just a practical thing. Okay, said it Mishnah Berurah.
But we seem to do both. We roll it up and we cover it.
Yes, that's what we do. The right thing to do is that it should be Migugalas. It's not enough. The cost of the task, if you mean exer, shuv ein tzarich kisoy, you don't need a kisoy. Kisoy havi tircha yisera. Rak ve'esh sha'avim kadesh achar akriya shapish techasay say de'oz misalik min akriya. Then you're not part of the kriya. Who I did kol makom sheish zman oroch kigon shemizamin mechasan or shamrich memishaberach oz mechasan besuda. So any time where you're not immediately involved, so that it should have a kisur. There are some shuls that they have, looks like a mantle from a sefer Torah. They have one special that they throw on top of the, and that, what?
The mantles.
It's easier. And this way you have the whole thing covered. What? Practical. Yeah. All right. Then Gavra Gavra, Vatam. Why is it that you have to close it? She'ein laniach kusa. She'ein covered the Torah, she'keh psucha, the tamtim ad sheyavoy acher. In other words, the sefer Torah, you have to treat it with respect. And if you're going to be leaving it like that, you're not treating it with respect. It has to be, okay. Let's skip something over here. I know I skipped something in Halacha Dalet. Okay, I know there's something missing over here. All right, I guess we're all sleeping, at least I'm sleeping. Then Gavra Gavra, okay. We're going to go back to 6 Dalet. We missed something over here. The Roya posted at the top of the page. I don't know how I missed it. The Roya, I knew it was waiting for this to happen. I thought it was supposed to be. It actually was supposed to be. The Roya posted Shetzarch LaHaskaboy, the Achakach Yivarach. First, you should see that which you are supposed to be making the bracha on, and then you make a bracha. And afterwards, you're gail and vorach. Says the Rambam, "Ubeshash mevorach bracha rishona yabach panav outside shelo yeh nira ki mevorach min haTorah." What you do is you face to the side. And so it should look like you're reading the brachas out of the Torah, because I would say that the brachas are inside the sefer Torah. Says the Rambam, the other part of it's at small. You should go to the tzad small because the shrima's right is on your small. So that's what they're covered to do. Okay, you have to.
I remember when I read this, I think in Megillah, and which person comes to shul on any basis for thinking of the brachas and the sefer Torah? That just doesn't make sense.
The face is the what?
The brachas in the sefer Torah.
Who's this guy in the Machaber who really thinks that the brachas are written in the sefer Torah?
Who thinks that the brachas in the sefer Torah? It seems to be like whatever.
There might be some guy. You feel it's that.
Just sounds strange to me.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have some kind of answer after the Mishnah Berurah. But I don't know the answer to the question. All I can tell you, it's always the same guys, the same troublemakers. I don't know. I don't have a good answer for you. It's the same guys. These are the same guys. Okay. I'm going to start first with the Pri Halacha. Okay. But that yesh poskim shesargim the moitza legal va'achakach levarech other. They should close it beforehand. That's better. Ella halach Rav Yehuda she'enu mechuyev lasses cake. You're not mechuyev to do that. Al pizeh nagim me'ezem akoyim sharon shegoyim va'achakach levarechim, and that's what they do. The nara pashto. Okay. So in other words, whether you should be goyim or you should be mechatze is a machlokes. All right. Tezayim, Mishnah Berurah Tezayim. Roya pasik today sheyeda abahu mevorach. Now, I just like to make a complaint on this Mishnah Berurah. What does it mean today sheyeda abahu mevorach? What do you think? We're doing on a different sefer? Oh, so I'm going to hold you to that in some time when we're going to learn if the person looked at the wrong place. So we're going to see that the person can say that his dots is on everything that's in front of him. Why should you know? Can I ask you a question? And none of this, but I want you to think about the question because it sounds very silly, the question. Maybe it is even a silly question, but I think it's a very important question. Why do you have to look inside altogether? So we learned the reason you have to look inside altogether is because it's also to do Torah about that. But it's not like for real. Both. When I say it's not for real, what do I mean that it's not for real? Obviously it's for real. But in other words, your yaitza with the Shemei Ka'ina, you have to be following along because there's a halacha. Are you really making a bracha on the text that's written? Or are you making a bracha on the words that are being said? They just have to be said from a text. Do you understand the question I asked? I can't hear you.
I believe so.
You believe so? Do you accept the question?
Could you ask the question again, please?
Yes.
I didn't
The
understand it.
reason why you have to look inside the sefer Torah is because it's usher to read Baal Peh. So it's not like that you're really using the sefer Torah, what? Maramakum, right? But it has to be also kosher sefer Torah. But is it really where in the sefer Torah is it? How important is that? In other words, if I have to take out a different sefer Torah, do I have to make a new bracha? We're going to see, not necessarily. And that's not the sefer Torah was possible. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what? If someone's blowing a shofar with one shofar, and now they switch shofars, do I have to make a new bracha? So what's so important about where we're looking?
Why is that interaction so simple that it goes hand in hand? Since that is at the end of the day, you have to read it.
Yeah, you have to read it. Why do I have to know where? No, the bracha is not chal on the reading. The bracha is chal on what I'm saying.
It's not chal on the reading?
It's chal on what I'm saying.
It's not chal on the, you can't say it without reading it.
So, but that's called a hechitimtza, right? Is there anything more than that?
That's a lot.
Okay. All right.
Devarim shebechtav, you can't say Baal Peh, so you have to actually read it.
Right.
So that's what you're making the bracha on, the reading of it.
Yeah. So as I'm telling you, I don't know if that's true. We learned last week or 2 weeks ago, could be you're actually yaitze with Shemei Ka'ina. the Summa can get an Aliyah, right? That's how we pass it.
That needs explanation, though.
You shouldn't, but these days, because even with no hours.
I would like to read, take a look at Mishnah Berurah Yud Beis.
You have to explain, I don't have one, I brought the wrong volume, but you have to explain why he can get an Aliyah, why that's not a problem.
Okay. So I'm going to read to you a Mishnah Berurah.
Okay.
Afsho Kaira Hasuma. The time of Kivon Sha'anu Noagim Sha'ashatz Kaira. The Shatz is the one who lays. Vu Kaira Mitech HaKsav. Shuvay Kavdinim Al Oile B'Shomea Ka'ayna. I'm Yetzer Kriyas HaTorah. Right? I can do it with my eyes closed.
Okay.
Ultimately, you should be reading stuff.
But,
The guy himself.
I'm just pointing out. Just recap this question. The purpose of knowing, if you're eating an apple, and you want to know which apple you're eating, I understand, because the bracha is being chal on that apple. Is the bracha being chal on this parsha in the sefer Torah, or you just need a sefer Torah in order for you to be able to mouth the words? I know the whole Torah by heart, so why do I need a sefer Torah for? Because Dvam Shabbat Yashalom Balpeh. But I'm Yetzer Kriyas HaTorah with the words that I said, not with the reading. That's the question I'm asking. Obviously, I'm wrong. Right? I'm not. I'm just pointing out that it needs an explanation. That's all. All right.
It's not just simply one leads to the other. But at the end of the day, now that you need a secretary in order to read, because you can't say okay. Now my bracha needs to be on the Torah because.
Even if that's true, but why do I have to know where it is? It's always in here. So that's why I said we're going to learn later on that it's on everything. What happened? What does that mean, the diavad?
Because I shouldn't be knowing exactly.
Why should you be knowing? I was thinking, you're a cheater. You say this is the Chatziris B'diavad, and you don't have any reason, and you're smart for either. You say, because that's the way it is. How do you know? What?
Are we going to learn later that?
Yeah, but we'll have to explain. This has to be explained. That's the most point. Yeah. Obviously, this is the halacha. I'm not changing the halacha. I'm just saying that it needs to be explained what the.
You're going to read from it. Aren't you going to read from it?
From somewhere inside.
You're going to read from your aliyah.
Yeah.
So it has to be ready for you to. Has to be ready for you to read it.
That's nice, but that's not the reason that it says over here. You're saying that's a time saver.
Not a time saver. It's for when you make a bracha, so you don't have a hefsek when you're going to read.
That's called a time saver.
It's not time saver. You can't have a hefsek after a bracha.
I want to tell you something. I no, because I have this problem. I sometimes used to lay, and if I would get an aliyah, I would hold the pointer on the place, because when you get the aliyah, you look the other way, and then when you go back, you have to find the place again. What? It takes time. So I used to hold the yad on the place, right? But it doesn't necessarily, because you said beforehand, doesn't necessarily help you. And so that doesn't necessarily help you in the time saving department. But that's not the reason that says over here because of time saving. He's saying over here because you're supposed to know where it is. That's what it says. They're just pointing out why is it so important to know what you make a bracha. If it would be, I'm going to ask this question in a different venue. We took Ari Waldman Sefer Torah, and we made a bracha on it, and then Ari Waldman comes and says, I need a sefer right now, and he just grabs it away, and we have to take out a new sefer Torah from the Bima, from the Torah. Do we have to make a new bracha?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Is it? I'm saying, I know the bracha is chal on the sefer Torah. We're going to learn about this. Is it chal on the sefer Torah? You don't eat it.
How long the
But it's not there anymore. The Sefer Torah is not there anymore.
That's the saying. You're never making a bracha on the Sefer Torah. You're making a bracha on what you're learning.
If you made the bracha and the Sefer Torah was puzzle, and you have to take out a different one.
So you didn't make a bracha. If you did it on Tuesday, you're not Yetzer for Monday.
What's it Tuesday and Monday?
It's not a Sefer Torah.
But you said it doesn't have to do with this Sefer Torah. It has to do in general with reading.
I didn't say Sefer Torah. There are tanoim what you need in order to learn. Right? Obviously, it has to be kosher. Right? It has to be kosher. It has to be there. Whatever. Okay, we'll learn more about this. I'm just pointing it out right now. We'll stop over here. Okay. Have a good night.